Shalom, good morning, and welcome to Drive Time Live. This is a segment where, before I get to work or wherever I'm going, I like to talk to you all and just share my thoughts about whatever. And so, one of the things that I've been doing, as you all know, is these Office Terminator series. I have a new series coming up called Angry Ophelia, The Office Official. And so just having a lot of fun with the content right now. But I wanted to say that, I had someone tell me that, don't you think it's a little negative? And I will say it's not negative for me. It's an outlet for the things that I've experienced. It's a way for me to, be creative. And also, I feel like give people tools that they can actually use. So when we talk about navigating hostile work environments, the main takeaway for me has not been so much what the behavior of the people engaged in the nonsense, right? It is really about me. I've learned a lot about me. And I can say what really facilitated that and what was the catalyst of it, I would say, was me progressing, moving on to different positions and doing different things in my career and becoming interested in leadership really took me in a area that I would not, I don't know if I would have looked into leadership training. Uh, so when we started reading the John Maxwell books, that was the beginning for me. And I really started thinking about my growth process and just how many things that I've left unfinished. And you guys know I had so many false starts here with the channel because I just felt like I couldn't find my niche again. I didn't want to go back into having relationship conversations only because that was never the plan for the channel. And so where am I going with this? My whole point is that whatever we're going through, we're not going to be greater than our master, right? For those of you who, like me, follow Christ, we know this is not going to be a cakewalk. And so what I'm learning is that a lot of the things that I run across, really they're mirrors to show me things about myself that I otherwise would ignore or not notice unless there is some kind of conflict. That tension, that resistance, those are things to cultivate you into becoming a more complete individual here in this human experience. I always talk about how I had found myself being a human doing instead of a human being. And, so just trying to master the art of being and allowing yourself to be, it can be difficult when you are dealing with a toxic work environment or a toxic home environment, toxic family experiences, whatever you're going through. Because this in life, I think we kind of, not kind of, we absolutely have the wrong training. And we're not taught how to deal with adversity in a way that makes sense for us as human beings. We're not taught how to just sit, be, and feel. So when you start having all these feels, you start looking for ways to numb them, whether that's with food, alcohol, drugs, over exercise, um, overworking, irresponsibility, reckless behavior. A lot of these things are to avoid the feelings. And all of that comes with being human. And a lot of times it was funny, I just saw that on the diary of the CEO, he had something on there about just practice being a human being. And it's so simple and it's almost silly. But it really is true that the art of it being human and, you know, Krista Tippett has that show On Being. I love that because it's like we need to remember how to just be. And when you are in a toxic work environment, you are going to have to learn how to set boundaries and set aside time so you can be, so you can meditate, pray. And when you go over, because I always say, whenever I have an encounter with someone, I always go and I review the situation and I see, well, what went well here and what went wrong. And people always tell me, "Well, you're so hard on yourself." It's not about being hard on myself. It is about Second Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourself. And there are some situations where I can honestly say that I know that I did not show up the way I wanted to show up, or things were said in a way that I didn't want them said, and or I didn't mean, or unfortunate fallouts. But because anybody who believes that you're going to get along with everybody all the time, and this is just some kind of Pollyanna story, is just not being realistic. You're going to have differences. You're going to not get along. Do you have the skills to navigate that? Do you know how to have healthy conflicts? And if you don't, you're going to constantly be going through friendships, relationships, situationships, whatever kind of ship you like to crawl your ass up in, you're going to have to learn how to navigate it. And part of that comes with accepting the reality of your situation. The second phase of that is, what can I control here? In this ship, I can't control the weather. That's the people around you. You can't control your boss. You can't control your coworkers, but you can control you. You can control allowing yourself to be put in situations that you don't have to be. Sometimes some of the situations you find yourself in, I speak for myself, comes from you just engaging when you can just walk away. We have this thing where we believe that we have to stand and just take it and participate in the conflict, but you don't. When things start to get out of hand, voices start getting raised, unless you're in a situation where your superior tells you you can't leave, then that's a whole different ball game, and then we have to talk about those type of situations. If it is where you all are just having a a bit of a disagreement, I say, hey, you got to learn how to have healthy conflict. If it comes to verbal abuse, yelling at you, berating and belittling you, you absolutely do not have to sit and take it. And if it were me personally, I would. If you're telling me I can't leave, I'd have my phone out and I'd be recording. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know. You have to find out your rights in the state that you live in. If I'm in a situation where I'm being berated, belittled, harassed, sexually harassed, I'm coming in recording anyway. You're in danger. But I think I'm not going to say most, because I hear this all the time. So you just have to navigate that and see what type of situation you're in. And as always, I always have on here to get email me if you and we can talk about it. Tools, because I can just talk about what has worked for me. I can just talk about what has helped me and what may help you. I can show you how to develop a plan and how to set up some resources for yourself and a real time help to help you navigate that situation. You can email me. It's on the screen, Sister7, SISTAH7 at gmail.com. Because you can't do everything alone. You're going to need support. You're going to need allies when you're in these type of situations. And I can just tell you everything that I did wrong because I didn't know. I had never been in a situation like that before. Sure, I've been in the toxic work environment, but I never encountered the type of environment that I encountered. And so I didn't know how to navigate it, and I handled it poorly. I didn't do the process. I didn't learn about the process. I kind of learned about the process through trial and error. And that's why we have the stream where we're talking about know your handbook, know your rules. Because if you don't know what your office policies and procedures are, you're putting yourself at risk. You're in danger. You need to become an expert on your policies and procedures so that you're able to protect yourself and the other people around you, right? Because you may end up, in most cases, you're the one who is going to be standing alone, especially if you're willing to speak up. And so, knowing that, you need to be well armed. So, to the question about negativity, I do, and thanks to the assessments like the Clifton Strengths and the EQI leadership assessment that I took, I do have a pessimistic bent towards things. And now that I know that, I can control for that as well. So get to know yourself, learn yourself. All these assessments that they have, They're not scams. They actually work and they can help you because once you identify your patterns, your the way you tend to behave and react, you can use those assessments to help you become a better employee, a better mother, father, friend, leader. Wherever you show up, you'll just be better because you will know yourself. And you know the saying, to thine own self be true. Thanks for watching. You guys have a fabulous Friday and Shabbat Shalom.